Before we jump into today's show, I just wanted to let you know that I have got a brand new 3-part audio series available to download right now. If you head over to donnaeade.com/3-part audio, that's all one word, no spaces, you can download your How to Build Your Authority with Podcasting audio series. This is going to address guesting and hosting. So if you're interested in either of those and you want to know how to build your authority, head over to donnaeade.com/3-part audio. The link will be in the show notes. You're listening to the Mindset and Action Podcast, the place to be to grow and streamline your business. I'm your host, Donna Eade. Let's jump into the show. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I am so excited to have you here for this mini Mindset Monday. I have the fabulous Viv in the house. Welcome, Viv.
Hello, lovely.
So much fun to have you here and like little co-host situation. I'm loving it. Okay, so today, guys, for our mini Mindset Monday, we are talking about self-sabotage. Hands up if you have ever felt like you have sabotaged yourself out of something. Yes, me too. So this is completely selfish question for Viv today. Viv, why do we self-sabotage?
Oh, lovely. Now, I just want to reframe your question to start with. You know why? Because the word why messes English language up completely. Because as soon as we ask ourselves why, we go, I don't know. Is the immediate answer. Why do I do this? I don't know. Why do you feel that? I don't know. It's an instant thing. You ask it to a child. So we can replace the word why with what is making us self-sabotage, or what is the purpose? So that's the first thing. If you're listening to this, I want you to ask yourself, switch your why out and put a different word in its place. So what is making me self-sabotage? What is the purpose of self-sabotaging? And I can tell you the answer. The purpose of self-sabotaging always is to stay safe. Always, always, always. So your better question is, what do I need to stay safe about right now? What is making me feel that I'm unsafe about this? So these are different coaching questions. Okay, so this is the difference between what you're asking yourself, and this is a lovely example of it. Thank you for bringing it here, of how you can get different answers. So give me an example, Donna, of the sort of things that you might self-sabotage around.
Okay, I can use a very good one. So I was in a coaching session not long ago, and I was asked by my coach, why isn't your podcast about podcasting? And I kicked up a right hissy fit about it, and I didn't want to do that because I love my podcast the way it is. And I did get over it because now I have 2 podcasts, and that was my way of getting around it. But yeah, I definitely didn't want to do what you told me to do.
I didn't tell you, I just asked you a question, right? Yeah. That's the power of coaching rather than mentoring. Okay. Because of course it made sense to me because I'm outside of you. So I can understand what's going on better than you. That's why someone can randomly say something and you go, oh my God, that's genius. Why didn't I think of that? Because they've got all your feelings. So here's your next clue of self-sabotage is our own self-image, our own self-feeling, our own self-value and self-worth. People outside of you think you're way better at podcasting than you think you are, Donna. I can absolutely tell you that. I know I hear people raving about you all over the place, but you're like, oh, shall I? Could I? I don't know. Okay, and that's normal. That's nothing. There's not a derogatory comment about you. We're all the same, unless we are complete sociopaths or psychopaths, and then we think that we're God. So, of course, that's a slightly different thing. And I know a few of those, I'm not going to lie. But actually, it's how we feel about ourselves. That's why how somebody else feels about us, testimonials and referrals, all that kind of thing is much easier for business development than us blowing our own trumpet. Number one, we're told not to. We're told not to say anything good about ourselves. So that sits there. But the self-sabotage thing is really powerful because it comes from typically, and I'll do a whole training on this. In fact, I've got a free one on my website if you want to go and see it. I call it the self-harm cycle, which is a bit of heavy hitting because it's not like you're cutting your own wrist, but you are metaphorically, emotionally, when you're self-sabotaging. What you're saying is, I'm not worth this. I'm not good enough to achieve this. No one will think I am. This is the kind of stuff that's going on in the head. But what typically is the main cause of self-sabotage is overwhelm, which is created by too many expectations of yourself. So if you think about this, if you'd have said to yourself, actually, in the next 12 months, I'm going to start a podcast about podcasting, it would have been slightly less overwhelming, and you would have probably slightly less self-sabotaged. I'm not saying you did on this occasion, by the way, because, well, you see me every month. But actually, what happens is people think they've got to do everything now. There's a competition for it. They need the money. They need the prestige. They need something. So everybody's in such a hurry to do everything. So we put really unrealistic expectations. The best version of this I can give you is dieting. I'm going to a wedding in 21 days, and I woke up this morning and thought, how can I lose a stone in 21 days? Now, if you speak to anybody that's all about, consistent weight loss, they'll say that is not the right attitude, but that's what my brain did. And what my brain was saying, you're not going to look nice if you don't lose any weight. My brain was telling me all sorts of things. In fact, and if I allowed it, it would probably say, don't go to the wedding because you're too fat. That is what my brain would eventually tell me to do. So we've got this script that runs all the time. So we need to intercept the script, understand what we are putting on ourselves. So self-sabotage typically comes when we're expecting way too much. Typically comes from, I don't know, having overperforming siblings, parents that expected too much, or they didn't and we expect more from ourselves. But it usually is an internal kind of ecosystem. I tell you that, I put a lot of pressure on myself. My wife says to me all the time, no one is making you do that. And I know I am. I am my own stressor. I'm my own person that is making me do this. And therefore, I am creating my own ecosystem of self-sabotage. So I need to take the pressure off, just take a step back, just breathe and work out what is realistic. What is realistic? If you had a job where someone made you do something that you absolutely knew you couldn't handle, you would go into overwhelm, which would eventually lead to self-sabotage. You'd probably leave the job, or you wouldn't go to the job. So it's exactly the same concept in business. You will just sit back and let yourself down in exactly the same way if it's too much. So what isn't too much is the question. What can I achieve? These are all the kind of things you can move yourself out of self-sabotage. What is it I'm needing to be safe from? What am I afraid of? What can I do? What is realistic? So this is the kind of what we call solutions-based questions that move us out of problem, i.e., to, oh, okay, I can do that. So if we'd have said, we can do one podcast, you could do one podcast a month, maybe, as your new one, you'd have said, I could do more than that. Excellent. Off we go then. So we'd have moved you out. Do you get it?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I did. I decided I love this podcast the way it is. I didn't want to disrupt this. I still talk about podcasting on this one, but I was like, I can understand why one that's purely about podcasting could be of value. So the new one is a serial podcast. I do 12 episodes, take a break, do another 12 episodes. It's not too much on my plate. So I love that. And I also love what you said about, again, it goes back to that childhood stuff. And, this is why it's so important to work with a coach, because it just goes that bit deeper. It's just, you don't realize the connections until you hear it out loud. And when you turn around and said about the pressure that you put on yourself because maybe your parents didn't, I had none of that. My parents never pushed me to go to uni, never pushed me to do anything. It was all self-imposed. And I don't know whether there is anything way back there that, needs to be I know when I sort of started pushing myself and it was from a good place, but somewhere along the line it twisted. So maybe that's something for our next session.
It didn't twist, we twisted it. We made it mean something. We make stuff mean stuff that it doesn't mean. It's a bit like when someone says, you look nice today, and they give you maybe a little sign with their face, and you're thinking, well, did I not look nice last time you saw me then? Or what do you mean I look nice today? Or you look well. That's the one we'll go, what does that mean? I put on weight? What do you mean I look well? Is it my skin tone? Like, we make it mean something it doesn't mean. We do that all the time because the brain is trying to work out what the problem is with everything. The job of the brain is to work out the problems and solve challenges. That's his job. Stay alive, procreate, get warmth, shelter, love, connection, and stay alive. That is its job. That's all its job is. So that's what's running the show, unfortunately. So we have to intercept it at times. But yes, don't make me coach you on this, Donna. I will. Don't make me go to where you've twisted it.
Oh dear. Okay, guys. So that was just like brilliant. I love it. Self-sabotage, it's a big thing. And I think, and I don't know whether it is especially for women, but because I'm surrounded by women, I see it a lot in women, this self-sabotage. I can't possibly run a successful business. I can't be like that guy over there and things like that. So definitely something to dig into. I will try and find that self-harm cycle freebie that Viv's got and link it down below. Obviously you can go over to her website and binge all of the stuff that's over there, so do head over to the links in the show notes for those, and we will see you again in a couple of weeks with a new topic. So do join us then. Stop self-sabotaging. We can all do this, guys. Thank you so much for your time, Viv, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.